Hello, we're at the National Electronics Week in Birmingham today, and I'm joined by Bob Willis, who is a very well-known trainer here and founder of the Smart Group. Welcome, Bob.
Welcome, and welcome to the show.
Thanks. Now, we want to talk today about a new project that you're pioneering. It's a, if you like, a development based on the IPC very successful hand soldering competition. You're taking it one step further with in association with IPC to prepare a reworked challenge. Can you tell us or tell our viewers a little bit about this challenge and how it works?
Well, yeah, it's the hand soldering competition, as you said, has been very successful for a number of years, and I just suggested to a number of members of the IPC team that perhaps we should progress it, we should do something different. And as you know, I sort of put these experiences together at different shows around the world, and I thought it was about time to do something on rework and repair. And it's early days, because when the IPC event first started, you know, they only got a few people involved, and it's grown and grown and grown and become more popular and well respected. So basically the rework challenge is for an operator to take a printed circuit board, take 4 components, assemble them to the printed circuit board, have them inspected, and then remove the components from the printed circuit board and prepare the pads for the reassembly of new components. And I've done it in that way for a number of different reasons, rather than starting off with an assembly and working in the other direction, which would be more normal perhaps, but you still got exactly the same skills, you still got to set up the equipment in the right way. And the other thing about the experience, it allows people to try out different techniques. So if they're used to using dip flux or dip paste for BGA packages, which I prefer to use, to be perfectly honest, but they can use mini stencils, they can use plastic stencils, so there's a variety of different techniques they could consider if they want to. They'll probably go for the trusted techniques they're used to. Mm-hmm. So basically, the printed circuit board, as we see here, this is an example of it. We've got QFPs, we've got standard BGA packages, we've got a small CSP package, and then we've got the QFN, or bottom-mounted termination, or bottom termination components that IPC refer to them at. It's a standard 1.6mm board, it's gold finish, so, you know, that's pretty much. So the operators that come along to participate in the challenge would hand solder that or drag solder that. That would be the most common technique. With these other packages, they could use convection reflow or infrared reflow, and that would be true for all of the others. With these and these, you could use dip flux or dip paste, depending on your preference. With these, you've either got to print the board with paste, or you've got to print the device with paste and then assemble and reflow. Although one particular rework company, what they do is they put paste onto the package, then reflow it, so they're sort of bumping the terminations, and then use flux to reflow the solder they put on them onto the printed circuit board. So it's just another technique. Right. And you know, there's advantages and disadvantages with either technique. So that's the basic board. Mm-hmm. Those are the types of components that we're going to be assembling to it. Okay. And basically what I've done is put together a procedure that an IPC approved trainer or a master instructor could use. And IPC have got a similar technique they use for their hand soldering competition. I've changed it a little bit for obvious reasons, but that's basically how the whole challenge would work.
Right, so you get different criteria there, but I notice you have a range of different pieces of equipment and machines behind us here that the contestants can use to rework these boards. What if they're not familiar with these pieces of equipment? How do they handle that? Because some people are going to be familiar and have an unfair advantage, one would assume.
Well, it's true. I mean, that's a fair comment, but you can't. In the way in which we structure these types of events, you can't guarantee to have every piece of equipment. It'd be nice, it'd be great, we have a bigger area, we might have an exhibition just about rework. That would be wonderful and fun for me to play. But we've just got 2 types of equipment. What we try to do is have convection and IR, which are the 2 techniques that are used in the industry. Fundamentally, the process is the same. You just got to understand, you know, the nuances of the piece of equipment. But if people are not familiar with either, they can decide, okay, I'd like to use IR, and then we'll get one of the suppliers to run them through how to use it.
Right.
They won't do the rework for the people. They have to still do it themselves, so push the buttons and make the adjustments, but at least they'll be shown professionally how to do it.
Right. So you're going to have representatives here from the equipment suppliers that will show them how to use the equipment if they need to do that.
Yeah, that's correct. And over the last sort of day and evening, we've used each of the techniques ourselves, myself and the representatives, just to try it out and learn, because this is the first time we've ever done this, and the second time will be in Germany in a couple of weeks' time. And it's inevitable. Whenever you do things for the very first time, there's things that we forget. And somebody said to me earlier, Bob never forgets. No, I forget things too. So you want to try and refine it and make it slicker, and that's what's happened with IPC, with the hand soldering competition. At the start, they obviously had success, but they streamlined it, made it more consistent. The components come in little boxes, they're properly labelled up. So
yeah, they refined it as they went along.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's what you've got to do with any type of event.
Okay. Now let's talk about the criteria because I see you have a sheet here that's got some of the where you put the marks, I guess. But let's talk about some of the criteria they're going to be judged on.
Okay. Well, fundamentally, stage one is we just make a note of how they've done it. And the reason is just to know what different people and what techniques, and it's just a way in which the instructor can make a simple mark. The next thing is that they're assessed on obviously the soldering and the alignment of the components of the printed circuit board, and that's to IPC 610. It's to level 3, so class 3, and some people would say, well, I don't work to that standard, but in all honesty, if you can't build a BGA or any of these,
then you shouldn't be in the competition.
No, and that's not being disrespectful, because we should always aim to the highest quality, regardless of what quality is set within a company. And as I said, I don't think level 3 is difficult to do. Again, there will be some debates on that, but I if I can do it, professional rework operators can do. So. Okay. That's what we do there. What
else have we got then? I mean, you've got 2 pages I can see.
So then what we do is we move to the removal part of the stage. And the idea here is they take the components off the printed circuit board, they level the pads, so they are then prepared for replacing components, either using stencil printing, using dip paste, and that makes sure the components are going to sit flat on the board. But at that stage, they don't do anything more, but the inspector inspects the pads to see they've done it correctly. There's no damaged pads, there's no damage to the solder mask, etc. So they've got that. And we've got 2 other stages which are not included here, and we're not doing it at the initial stages of running the experience, which is cleaning and also conformal coating rework. Okay. Now, although we're featuring conformal coating rework as part of the experience, it's not part of the test. So I've added it into the form because it's nice to let's get this fixed and everybody's happy with it, right, and then add these steps into future experiences.
Excellent. Okay. So you've got it's kicked off here. You've had a couple on the first day. You've got a few more people today. Your next event is going to be in Nuremberg. That's going to be in a couple of weeks' time. Do you have some people lined up to compete in that event?
Yes, I was speaking to my co-organiser with IPC, Lars, and he said he's already got the registration forms. He's sent back the information, which I've told, so they know in advance what they've got to bring, because they are allowed to bring hand tools. So if they want to bring their own tweezers, cutters, and small hand tools, they can do. Well, they could bring everything if they wanted to, but that's unreasonable. But the personal things, and sometimes people like to bring like solder wick, the right size that they like to use, and certainly tweezers. When we're talking about surface mount and fine pitch, that's a crucial thing. It may not seem like a very basic tool, but
if you're used to using it day in, day out, then of course you want to,
I've got my own with my name on, and I guess that most other people are in a similar way.
Excellent. Okay, well, we wish you the best of luck with this, Bob, and we look forward to see how it develops over the coming months, and thank you for joining us today.
Well, I really appreciate it, and really appreciate your time. Thanks, Trevor.